Hi everyone, it's Monique from ButterBeeScraps and it's time for another tutorial. I have to apologize. I'm sorry we skipped the tutorial last week. Things just got so insane for me. I unfortunately was unable to work on it. So we're just going to continue working through the mini album. We have completed several spreads here. And the next one we have to complete is this one here. And it seemed as though the consensus was that last week's tutorial was preferable because it moved a little bit more quickly. I don't blame you. I preferred it as well. I did get comments that the music was too loud, so we're going to try to fix that for this video. So just so you know, I do read your comments. I do listen. So anyway, let's get down to it. I did some prep work like I did last week. So on this piece here, I actually did some more stitching here and I adhered that down because of course there's going to be a tag in there. Here I added 3 brads and adhered this down, and again stitching over here. I actually have to admit I made a mistake. I wanted these brads up here, but I messed up. So I added these brads on this piece here to kind of help balance everything. So we are going to start with this left page in here. And I'm going to start with this. Actually, no, I'm not going to start with that page. I'm going to start with this upper page. The reason being is I have actually decided to add a pocket at the top here. So I thought it would be good to show you, how you can go ahead and change things up even though you've already kind of somewhat committed to your mini album. If you recall, last time we did a spread like this, we did the flap up from the bottom. Not doing that this time. So let me show you what I did. I'm actually going to turn this upside down just because it's easier for me to work on since I'm sitting over here. So what I did for this is I actually cut a piece of this gold paper to match the base here. And because we made this flap just slightly narrower than 6 inches, we made it 5 7/8 inches. I made this 5 7/8 inches by 3 inches this way. Now, normally I would have added a 1/2 inch on either side, but I just didn't have enough paper. So we're going to go ahead and glue the edges down to create the pocket. So anyway, we have 5 7/8 by 3 inches. I scored at a 1/2 inch from this edge and folded it over. And of course, I already created this piece, but we don't need such a large piece, and I'm actually going to trim it off just in case we can use the rest of that somewhere else. So I'm going to cut this piece down to, wait for it, I forgot to prepare for this part, sorry. We're going to cut it down to 3.5 inches. Let me just measure twice, cut once. Yep, 3.5 will be lots. Okay. I'm not even going to do anything to that edge there because it's going to be hidden under the pocket. And I'm not going to add any additional embellishments or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down. Okay. There she be. And I have decided that rather than just have these corners square, I want to put some, do the same decorative edge as on all the rest of the papers and stuff. So I'm just going to chomp these here. And I'm going to go ahead and ink these edges and leave this one uninked because of course we're going to have square corners there and we're going to fix that. Don't worry. So just let me ink these edges and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. Those edges are all inked. Now it would be easier if I just glued this matting on first, but I'm not going to because I have to chomp these corners and ink that edge, and I don't want to get the wallpaper dirty. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to use glue. Now you don't have to use the glue on the bottom of this flap. I am going to, just because it'll be easier just to stick with the same stuff. And actually, before I'm going to glue it, again, this is not necessary if you don't have the side flaps to glue down, but it does make the corner neater regardless. So I'm just going to cut these corners off at a bit of an angle. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and glue this down. I'm going to start with just the flap. Make sure you line those edges up, both side to side and the bottom edge. And wipe any glue that's leaked out off, because you don't want to shorten your pocket. Okay. So now I'm just going to run a really fine bead, or try to run a fine bead on either side of this flap. And fold that over. Looks like I should have made this wallpaper back here a little bit longer. You can see the corner chomper there. It allows the edge to stick out there. Oops. You know what? Good thing I can show you what I'm gonna do to fix that. Now I'm just taking this piece here, and I'm going to cut like 1/2 inch off of it, like so, and I cut it crooked because it twisted, but that's okay. That's okay, trust me. And I'm just going to glue this strip here. So there will be a seam, but you know what? With most of it being covered up, it's really not going to be noticeable. I think it's better than, the seam is better than nothing. If you know what I mean. Guys, I feel like I'm totally botching this tutorial. I am sorry. Okay. So cut this to 4 inches, not 3.5 like me. Oh my goodness. I need help, guys. Volunteers? Way too much glue. Anyway. Gotta move forward. Okay, so when you have those sides glued down, of course, let me pull this down and show you. You've got something like this. Looks horrible. So I am going to corner chomp this and try to line up my previous chomp mark to the punch. So this side is completely untouched. Nothing to do there. This side, looks like it was meant to be. So now I'm just going to ink this bottom edge here. And of course I forgot, but it's okay to fix. I actually used the black ink on the base first. There we go. Voila, done. Now another thing that I've decided to do is I'm going to add a magnet here to keep this pocket closed. And I think I want to glue this on that way. I've already got the tape on there. So before I put the tape on, I have to glue the magnet on, which means scrubbing my E6000. Okay. Oh boy. I am sorry, guys. It has been like this all day for me. It's just been one of those days. I don't know what's going on. E6000. Then place it face down on your hand. Not. So now we're going to place some E6000 on the top, just like usual. There we go. And because I came prepared, I have 3 tags that I have already inked. And I got these from the Tim Holtz collection, and I've just decided to stick those in there. I do like to kind of work around this magnet. Okay, now we're going to move on to this bottom flap, but before we do that, you've seen me do this before, I believe. You stick your magnet on there. Put your E6000 on. Remove your wallpaper. Close it up and let it sit while you're decorating the wallpaper. Okay. That should be good. Okay, so this is the bottom. I've opted to do something that is not really thick because there is going to be a magnet under here. So I'm going to put this slightly off center just because I like doing that. Because these edges here are dark, I've rotated this so the dark edges are at the top next to the light. It just, to me, creates more interest. And then I shall show you what I have planned. I'm going to put corners on the edge here. I'm actually going to border this edge with a large bronze arrow. And I'm going to end up with something kind of like so. So I am going to put brads through some of the gears. Definitely going to put a brad in the end of this arrow just to cover up that hole. So I'm going to go do that. Come back when everything's glued in place and looks right. And yeah, I'll see you in a few minutes. All right, I am back and I am finished adhering everything to this page. So I'm just going to bring it up a little bit closer so that you can see. This is a large bronze arrow charm. I put a brad through the hole, but I also used E6000 to glue that to the edge of the page. Over here I've got a corner filigree with some layering of gears, and I did glue and put a brad through these. And here I've got another corner filigree with some smaller brads. So now you can see I put paper or put the double-sided tape on the back already. And I actually did that before adhering any of the metal down, just so that it was easier. So I'm going to pull the mini album in here, open this out because this is now dried, and I'm going to adhere this down. There we go. And now this should be able to close nicely because I didn't make this too deep. Now time to do this page. So this is the mat for that page. So I'm just going to pull it down and grab what I have prepared here. I am just doing another simple photo mat. However, I'm going to turn this one into a pocket so that I can stick these suckers in here. I have opted, just for fun, I'm actually going to put this corner filigree up there, and is this what I had planned? I do not know. I can't remember. It's been 2 hours. Sorry there. So I'm going to end up with something like that. So basically what I'm going to start with is I'm going to glue this down. And it's important you use glue again because you don't want your tags to stick on the edges, and that will happen if you use score tape. So I'm just going to add a bead of glue around these 3 edges, stick it down, adhere the rest of my metal, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Alrighty, so I am done adhering everything to this page. Now of course the brads were already there. I added this little assembly, and I actually opted to put little brads in either end and a brad through the center of the gears. And then over here I've got that corner filigree along with a single gear. And of course these guys slide in here nicely. So that's that flap right there. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that down. Alrighty, there we go. So last but certainly not least is this little pocket flap here. And I'm going to do what I've done on all the rest of them, is just add a decorative element here. So I opted to use this filigree, and you can see I cut it in half. And it's going to go on either end there. And then we're going to just stack a few gears on top and call it a day. So let me glue this together and I'll show you how it turns out. First though, I am going to add the score tape to the back just so that it's easier. So let me put this together and I will be back. Alright, I am done that last panel there. So this is a full spread. I'll go over it with you quickly. I did add all the tags that we finished way back at week 2, was it? Anyway, so there's this one here, a simple mat, some embellishments around the edges. Of course, these tags pull in and out. You flip this up, and you actually have a pocket in the top with some tags. And you have another picture mat there some metal embellishments, and there's a tag inside the pocket there. Over here we have this assembly, along with, of course, don't forget about our signature that we put right in there. And this here, and you can see I've added the tags here as well. So that's it. There wasn't much to this week's tutorial, but I hope you learned something. You know, don't feel like once you've completed the base of a page you're stuck with that layout. As I showed you, you can add pockets here, there, and everywhere. I've kind of showed you that all the way along. So anyway, thanks for following along. Sorry for missing a week, and I will definitely see you next week. See you later.